everyone, and welcome to Cope with Hope. Sorry about the last one. I thought that it hadn't gone live. So, welcome everybody. I'm so happy to see you again. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about grief. The depth of the grief that we feel, we cannot even fathom. It's like unbelievable when you lose people. Today we've lost two people from our film fraternity who have been very close to our heart. And when my father died, my mother was given this wonderful poem which we made a lovely card of, and it was read out at his prayer meet and then given to everybody. And ever since then, when anybody from my family leaves, this is read out and we make a card. So it's only befitting that someone from our family, the film fraternity's family, two of our beloveds have left recently. So it's only befitting that I read this out to you. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints in the snow. I am the sun on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift uplifting rush. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. Do not stand at my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. So this is a time to really think of how we're going to be with each other, how we're going to treat each other, what we're going to do and how we're going to be. You know, I mean, we're all stuck together, some of us living with our families, and it's not always all smiles and happy. There are times when things are difficult, there are times when you do get on each other's nerves. And it's important to think then that we are so privileged and we are so lucky and we have so much. And that life is short and fragile. And we should really celebrate and cherish every moment that we have together. So today I'm going to be interviewing Shivam Patil. Or Patil, I think. Shivam Patil. He's delightful. I worked with him on a film called Love, which is now on Tata Sky. I'll put the links in. And he's a very, very lovely human being with many, many different sides to him. He used to walk into the set and there would be music, and the most amazing music. He's a very deep thinker. He dances like a dream. He's a mental health advocate. There are many sides to him. And today I hope that I get to interview all the different avatars of Shivam Patil. So let me welcome him on and let me add him to this chat. So here he comes. I'm really excited to be interviewing him today. Hi, Shivam.
Hi Nandinii, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, the usual.
The usual. Okay,
Life
so
in quarantine.
life in quarantine. Okay, so I was just telling them about the different avatars of Shivam Patil. Sorry.
Parted.
Shivam Patil.
The
Excuse
big
me for
difference.
that. There's a big difference.
The difference between getting a visa in the US and not.
And not exactly. So it's Patil, excuse me.
Thank you.
And I was telling them all about your different avatars, the Krantikari, the mental health advocate, the Bollywood actor, the dancer, and the music connoisseur. Because you just played the most amazing music when we were shooting together. So right now I'm going to ask the mental health advocate
Okay.
how that part of you has been spending these past almost 40 days in lockdown.
Um, I think that's a very like thanks for starting with that question first of all, because it's a very relevant question, especially to the situation that we all find ourselves in.
Yes,
Not just you and me, but everybody watching, the billions of human beings in the world, all stuck in the same situation,
yes,
which has I think it's a mass crisis that we're dealing with. It's a mass traumatizing experience that everybody's
yes,
in together.
yes,
So it's had a huge impact on the mental health of every single human being in very similar ways. Like we're probably both affected in the same ways by what's going on, even though we have different ways of dealing with it.
yes,
So it's been very interesting to just see how mental health has been affected by the coronavirus, by the pandemic, by the lockdowns, by being stuck at home and sort of uh, trying to create a lifestyle for months just sitting at home. It's been very challenging, and I've tried my best at least to make sure that I keep posting a lot of mental health reminders, a lot of tips on how to deal with this sort of situation or what to do at home. Keep posting reminders like that every single day on my story or on my feed or like the friends when I'm talking to them. So I feel like it's very important. It's one of the most important times in life to be looking after your mental health right
yes,
now.
yes.
And even otherwise, it's very important, but right now more than ever. So I feel like that side of me has really been very active in the last maybe like 2 months.
Yes, that's wonderful that you've been posting this. I saw a lovely post of yours about quarantine dance, and that was very uplifting. So, can you tell us three things that you've posted which can help the audience out there to improve the situation for themselves?
Um, I just like maybe summarize it into like tips or just reminders.
Yes.
Uh, when we're all in a situation that makes us feel extremely isolated. It makes us feel very cornered and lonely.
Yes.
And everybody needs to remember that we're all feeling this together. Like every single human being around us is feeling lonely together. And if there's anything more beautiful than that, I don't think so, because we're sort of united by the fact that we're all feeling the same things and we
Yes.
understand what our neighbor and our family members and our friends and everybody are feeling at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
It's not just mass loneliness, it's also mass empathy,
Yes.
because we know exactly how everybody else is feeling, and so we feel understood for the first time. We feel like we're going through something difficult and we don't have to explain that to anyone because they're going through the exact same thing. And
Wow.
what better a thing to bring us together than that empathy? So I've been reiterating, channeling, and feeding and watering your own empathy a lot in the last few days. Like, the more you turn your world outwards, the more you turn your mind outwards towards everyone else, towards everything else going on in the world, the more
Yes.
you'll be able to heal and deal with your own situation. So I've been focusing a lot on empathy. And besides that, I think, of course, a lot of the basics. Mental health has a lot to do with basic lifestyle changes. So, sleeping well, which I think is one of the biggest problems that people are having right now.
Yes.
Everyone's sleep cycles are getting messed up, because you don't have something solid to wake up and do. Your routine is broken. So you end up
Yeah.
staying up late at night, we're binge watching shows and movies. So we end up like staying up till 6, 7 a.m. sometimes. We wake up late in the afternoon if we're not like working from home. So
Yes.
we need to really look after our sleep.
Yes.
We need to look after the food we're eating, because again, a lot of mental health comes from food. It comes from how healthy our diet is. And lastly, the one thing we're really missing out on, because we're stuck at home, is physical activity.
Yes.
So so whether it's dance, maybe just getting up, playing some music in your
Yeah.
room early in the morning and just like running around, jumping and dancing around, or some form of home exercise routine you're doing, maybe
Yeah.
yoga, maybe like push-ups, pull-ups, etc. It is very important. Physical activity directly impacts mental health. It produces a lot of feel good hormones in your system. It uplifts your confidence, your self esteem. It just instantly turns your day around and makes you feel better. So, if I'd emphasize three things to people out there who are trying to deal with things: one, channel your empathy,
Yeah.
feel what everybody is going through more, look after your people, check in on your friends, check in on people who follow you or your family members, ask
Yeah.
them how they're doing. Realize that we're not actually alone in this. Everybody's going through this together.
Yes.
Secondly, look after the basics. Look after your sleep. Try to at least. Look after your food. Make sure you're getting some form of physical activity and exercise in, whether it's dance or it's yoga or it's just a little bit of stretching. Make sure you do a little bit, but every day, consistently. Try to
Yes.
create a basic routine, a very
Yes.
basic routine. Like, I'll wake up, I'll do these things, I'll have a good breakfast, maybe I'll, sit and read a book, or I'll get some sort of stretching and exercise in. And then just stick to that every single day. Just get up and do that one little thing, and you'll be on your way. You will have already done your mental health a lot of favors just by doing that.
Oh, that's brilliant, Shivam. I really, really like this. And for everybody, I'm going to put up a video of Shivam's after this where he calls it quarantine dancing. That's very good. And also, maybe tomorrow at 3:30, I'm going to get online and talk a little bit about sleep and pranayam. And also like good tips to be able to sleep. That's just going to be me talking to all of you. So you can give you, thank you for that, Shivam, because I think that's very important. Okay,
Uh,
so that's the mental health advocate who's given us some wonderful tips. Now I'd like to bring in the Krantikari. And
all
I'd
right.
like to ask the Krantikari what today can be done for all those people who do not have the privileges that we have, who are stuck in small little rooms, who are stuck far away from their loved ones, far away from home. If you could offer a solution, what would it be? Not criticizing anybody. I want your solution.
Hmm. Okay. I think most of the country falls somewhere in the bracket of what you said, because
Yes, absolutely.
most country doesn't have the privileges we have.
Yes.
Um, Working back to the first point that I said regarding mental health about empathy, I think we need to channel our empathy towards people who are not in the same situations as us, but are in fact
Absolutely.
are an even worse situation than we need
Yes.
to shatter our sense of privilege. We need to shatter our sense of blindness or almost ignorance of what's going on down there on the streets as we're sitting in
Absolutely.
our comfortable homes with our comfortable meals, right?
Yes.
Like, I have access to some form of social comfort. I have Instagram. I have my dog, who, incidentally, you should know, my dog's name is Hope, which is the name of this.
Oh, great minds think alike.
I guess she's sleeping right now. She's sleeping next to my door right now.
Oh,
So I have
send photographs
access.
of her.
I
I'll
will,
put them up. Yeah?
for sure,
Mm,
for
yeah.
sure. uh, I have access to these things and they keep me going, but there are so many people out there who don't. I
Yes.
think it's very important to begin by acknowledging that, just acknowledging your own privilege,
Yes.
acknowledging what we have that millions of Indians out there do not have right now. The very
Yeah.
basic things, from shelter to food to social comfort to, the sort of mental health conversation you and I are having right now. They don't even have access to that. They don't know
Absolutely.
the idea or concept of mental health. They don't have the means to, even be able to educate themselves about this. They're fighting
Yeah.
for hunger. They're fighting for their next meal. How can they be thinking about, oh, how's my mental health doing today? Because of course it's going to be in shambles, right? So
Yeah.
one, we begin by acknowledging our own privilege. We begin by acknowledging the fact that our situations are so much better than a lot of people out there.
Yes.
Once we have acknowledged it, once we have truly dug deep and realized that we're in a position in society, in socioeconomic terms, we are in a position where we're protected from the worst of this lockdown. We are protected from the worst of the coronavirus.
Yeah,
It is our duty to use that privilege to defend and shield and help the people who don't have it. It is our
absolutely.
responsibility as citizens of this country and citizens of this human race to use what we've got to protect those who don't have those things. Now, we can do it in like indirect ways by just awakening our sense of privilege and our sense of empathy. We can
Yeah,
do it in direct ways by channeling that empathy into paths, sitting at home, doing our best to reach out to people out there. There are
yes,
several NGOs that are doing a lot of work to help these people. There are a lot of NGOs feeding them. There are a lot of NGOs looking after the shelter that they get some sort of protection. There are NGOs that are trying to look after the basic health concerns. I
yes.
can send you links of these, at least the ones I know are reliable and I know you can trust. I'll send you
Please
links
send
of
them.
them.
I'll put them onto your when I post your video.
Yeah, sure. So you can donate to them. You
Yeah,
can ask them how to get involved. You can ask them what you can do to help them sitting at home. Because right now, unfortunately, there is a sense of helplessness that we feel because we're stuck at
yes,
home. We're surrounded by our four walls, and we can't get out there and help. Like I feel this helplessness more than anybody else, I think, because being the, as you said, Krantikari, I need to get on the floor. I need to get on the ground to see what the reality is like. I
yes,
need to be able to help people who are actually out there
yes,
struggling or suffering or being oppressed. That's who I am. And
yes,
not being able to do that, being stuck at home is so helpless. And it makes me feel very guilty about not being really able to do much about it. So,
yes,
for people like that, there is still a lot you can do sitting at home. There is still a lot you can do even about the helplessness you're feeling. Look up organizations that are out there on the ground helping these people. Look up uh, there are like, depending on the area you're in, suppose like I'm in Bombay right now, which is one of the worst affected areas, right?
yes,
Maharashtra is one of the worst affected areas. Look at your local resources. Look at what your local bodies are doing. Like Maharashtra government has a lot of initiatives going on with regards to helping migrants, with regards to helping poor people, with regards to helping anybody who is not privileged enough to get that help. Even from a mental health point of view, they have mental health hotlines. They've started these basic facilities in the last few weeks.
yeah,
Contact them, ask them how you can help, ask them what you can do to connect more people to their platforms. So that's essentially what I try to do. I try to post all of this stuff up on my profile so that
yes,
whatever, how many ever thousands of people are watching, at least they know what they can do. They know how they can help. And if
yeah,
everybody chips in even a little bit, like even if we chip in 5% or 10% of the amount of money we make, we're making a huge difference out there. A huge
yeah,
difference because that could guarantee meals for a poor person starving for like a whole week. And that's huge. Imagine how much impact it's having out there. It's hard to see the impact. It's hard
yes,
to really be able to feel that you're making a change, but you are. If you're actually doing these things, you're making a massive impact. And maybe, 2 months from now, when the lockdown is over, and maybe we come out and we see how many people we managed to help doing all of this, that's when it'll hit us. That's when we'll realize, oh my God, okay, sitting at home, I managed to make the slightest difference.
yes.
And that's exactly what we should focus on right now.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's really amazingly said. And do send me the links because I will post them on everything.
I will. Some of my friends are working with these organizations, so I know that they can be relied on. I'll send you those exact links.
Send me. So everybody, if you want to help, please, and you must help, just check those links out, which will go up tomorrow with Shivam's video.
I'm just reading some of the comments because we've been getting so many and we've not looked
Yeah.
at them really.
We will. We'll look at the comments in the end for sure. We'll open it and answer. You want to answer some now? You want to answer some people now, Shiva, before we go on?
Sure. I mean, if they have questions related to exactly
Yeah.
what
So
we're
let's
talking
do
about,
that. Let's look at the
topic is.
questions. Yeah.
So, like, if people want to ask about something related to mental health or
Yeah.
related to how they can help, maybe we can answer specific questions people have in the back of their minds.
Yeah. Can
If any
we?
questions come up, we'll take them as they come, I guess.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We'll take them up
I'm
as they come.
just gonna, I'm
Basically,
just
they're
gonna
just
have a sip
saying,
of water.
please have, just drink as you're talking. I mean, this is very casual.
I'm
Even
gonna have
I
to look
drink
for me.
water. Go look for your
Do you
bottle.
guys want? Do you want to say hi to Hope?
Yeah, we want to say hi to Hope.
Hi, puppy.
Hi, Boo. Hi, puppy. Oh, I love you, Hope. Oh, hi, darling.
Not gonna trouble her anymore now. She's a little
Oh,
conscious.
she's so adorable. So basically, everybody's just saying it's lovely and we must donate regularly. And Shruti says she misses Hope.
Aw. I know she
Oh,
does. Shruti is a close friend of mine who's currently not in Bombay. So anyone who's not
okay.
in Bombay is just having this
Yeah,
massive sense of longing towards our city because Bombay is
yeah,
Bombay after all.
yeah. Home is home, and Bombay is very special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, everyone's saying donate regularly. Empathy is very important. Yeah, I think empathy is just a beautiful word because this is the time for that. This is actually the time to serve the other in any way we can, mentally, in our prayers, in our thoughts, in physical service as much as we can. Hey, that's my son Sahil. Hi Sahil.
Hey Sahil, what's up?
So yeah, so he's at the moment teaching, I think, a course of 200 youth.
What's he
He's
teaching?
he's an art of living teacher. So meditation and basically what we're talking about,
He must be
serving the
teaching
other,
the Sudarshan Kriya.
the Sudarshan Kriya, and also about everything we're talking about. Like according to Sahil, he says that he said God has locked us in because we wouldn't listen to change the way we think, to
To change the way
reach,
we live.
to change the way we live, to learn about service, to learn about caring for others. I think
That
that's important.
it's very important to take that out of this entire lockdown. As we eventually come out of it, we need to change the way we live because
Absolutely.
there's been a lot of I've seen a lot of people have this deep feeling of wanting things to go back to normal. There's been this
Yeah.
yearn that you feel like like entire society's come to a standstill, work has come to a standstill.
Yes.
It feels like life has just become so abnormal, and so people want to go back to normal. And I think it's very important to address that because Greta, who is one of the youngest
She's
environmental
my
activists,
hero.
there you go. She said,
Yeah.
and it's a very beautiful quote of her. She said, "Normal was a crisis."
The normal was.
Yeah, the normal we were living in was a crisis. It is what led to the situation we are in right now. And
Absolutely.
so we can't go back to normal. We have to go forward into a new normal. We have to go forward
Yeah.
into a new way of living, a new way of thinking, a more empathetic, environmentally aware, humanly aware way of existence. And if
Yes.
anything, this lockdown should be the period where we introspect and we really dig deep within ourselves to find that person in us and we change our habits, we change our ways so that when we come out of this, we don't make the same mistakes again. We don't repeat the same old normal again just because we have the
Yeah.
freedom to do it. It's very important to recover. Like a lot of governments have been pushing the same message. I read yesterday that the German and the United Kingdom government said that the world economy has collapsed, and the only way to recover from the collapsing economy is a green recovery, which means that
Absolutely.
an entire economic system has to shift towards alternative fuel. It has to
Yes.
shift towards respecting nature. It has to shift towards respecting the climate change emergency. That's
Yes.
the way the economy can fight back. And as a human species, we can actually ensure our survival and, have fewer incidents like this pandemic happen in the future. So I feel like that's something we really need to address. This yearning to return to normal needs to be changed to trying to create a new normal, a better normal
Absolutely.
in the future.
I mean, this new normal has no space for this, no, the usual insensitivity that we had. We
Hmm.
have to be more caring to our planet. We have to. We have to walk softly on our planet and look after it, like with
Yep.
great care.
Yep.
Otherwise, we'll be monsters. And it's
We
time to
are
change that.
monsters. We
Yeah,
have been monsters. Look, we've
yeah,
been monsters to trees. We've been monsters to
yeah,
forests. We've been monsters to other animals. And look where that got
absolutely.
us. Look where that got
Yeah.
us. It brought entire human society to a standstill.
Down to its
And
knees, not only a standstill, down to our knees. And we better wake up. We better
uh,
wake up. We better care for each other. We better love each other. We better love our planet. More
absolutely.
compassionate. Yeah, climate sustainability, absolutely. These are all important things. All of us who have the ability to go out there and tell people and tell children, we must. It's our duty. What do you think, Shivam?
We're sort of the future right now. We are the people who will inherit this planet.
Yeah,
I think you're still from the generation that us millennials like to call boomers.
yeah.
So the boomers are sort of handing over the baton to the millennials as the
Yeah, which is
millennials.
what we've, yeah, which is not fair actually. So I'm hoping that, we can do our bit and help.
Exactly. I feel like
Yeah,
the boomers have a lot of responsibility because they are the ones in the position of power, they are the ones in the position of administration. It's up to
yeah,
them to begin the change.
yeah,
And once
absolutely.
they do that, I guess the younger generations can pick it up from there and then take it
Yeah,
forward as the new normal way of living and make sure that young kids who come from the post millennium period, who were born after maybe the year 2000, they
yes,
grow up in an environment and in life that considers this new way of living very normal. It considers it the
absolutely.
only way to live, like being aware of
Yes,
the environment, being aware of each other's humanity and empathy and compassion.
yes,
This should be the only way to live, and that's what we want our children to grow up in,
I
essentially.
agree. Otherwise, what's the point of having children? To bring it
Yeah,
into a world where
absolutely.
there's so much hate, where
It is
there's so
true.
much bias, where there's so much racism, where the other, your brother, is not taken care of. He's like washed with bleach. I mean, I shudder to think of the things that are going on. I read information a little bit and then I let it go. And then I sit and I pray and I think of what I can do in my capacity because each of us can do something, as you very well said.
Hmm.
It is very, very important.
We are the only ones who can do anything.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
like self responsibility is the only
Yes.
true path towards evolution of
I
our society.
agree. I agree. We have to be accountable, each and every one of us. We have to
Yep.
be. Yeah, Shivam, you're just a beautiful human being. I
Thank
really
you. So
love
are you.
you. Thank
It
you.
takes one to see one.
I mean, I knew the minute you walked into that, I mean, we were on a film set, but yeah, it just like I knew
I'm
this boy is
actually
all heart.
I'm glad you remembered the music because anyone who's worked with me, anyone who shot with me knows this about me. I walk onto a set and I walk on with my own entrance music because
I
I always have the
love
speaker on me.
it. Yeah,
I have
I
the
love it.
Symbian speaker and I'm always playing music because I'm trying to create a vibe on set.
Yeah. He
So
used
go
to
ahead.
walk in announcing himself. What was the favorite thing you were listening to that time?
I think I was playing a lot of 80s, 90s music
Yeah,
because
this is my kind of thing.
the
Yeah,
space of the music the space of the show we were shooting was very science fiction, very
yeah,
futuristic. It was a
yeah.
beautiful story based in 2030. So I was trying to create that sort of futuristic vibe. And so I would play a lot of 80s, 90s old fashioned music that is actually very ahead of its time. I used
Yes,
to play a lot of synthwave and I used to play indie pop. I used to play a lot
yes,
of UK, I remember. So I believe like music is very important in creating the vibe. Even at home right now, like right now, this Insta Live is
yes.
the only time my room is not playing music. Otherwise,
Oh,
24 hours there's music playing in my room because I'm always trying to create like a nice atmosphere and
yeah,
environment. I think
yeah,
it's very important to do that in general in life, but as an actor, definitely, I'm always going to music.
yeah. Music stirs your soul, I feel.
Does
It's like soul stirring. It's really,
the soul creates music and therefore the soul is
yeah,
stirred by it.
yeah, yeah. It's true. Okay, so tell me what kind of music you're listening. He's got the best. Send me some playlists, okay? Which I'll also
Okay,
post.
sure. I've been doing that actually. I've posted two quarantine playlists so far. So
Okay,
I'll send you those two playlists. I've created a playlist just for quarantine, which is like a top 10 song that I listen to during quarantine playlist.
okay.
I made two of those. They're Spotify playlists. I'll send them to you.
Oh, great. So I'll listen to them on Spotify. Yay! Wow.
Works.
I told you he has many avatars. Okay, now I want to ask you about your dance. I want
Okay.
to ask you about dance. Tell us a little bit about your dancing.
Okay. Can you just give me a 5-second break because I have to attend to Hope?
Yes.
who wants to go out and I think go down for a walk. So I'm just going to open the door for her and say
Okay.
bye to her and then come back to your question.
Okay, she'll go on her own and come back on her own?
No, no. I
Then?
think my sister will take her down.
Okay, ask your sister.
Yes, one sec.
So yeah. So guys, remember tomorrow at 3:30, I'll get online and we'll be on for about 15 minutes where I will talk about what you can do to sleep and a little bit of meditation. Okay?
All right, I'm back.
Hi. Yeah. Okay. So
So
dance.
dance. I started dancing actually interestingly late in life. I started dancing when I was 18, when I was just entering college. And the reason I started dancing was because I used to see this Bollywood actor who, at that point of time, was just making his debut and doing his initial films dance. You guys might have heard of him. His name is Hrithik Roshan. So
Oh, never heard of him.
I guess, it's just this slightly remotely popular name.
Yeah.
So I used to watch him dance, from Kahona Pyare to
Yeah.
Dhoom, and we've all seen those iconic music videos. So I
Yes.
used to be a non-dancer, and I used to look at that video, and he just made me feel like, यार मेरे को भी ये करना है. मुझे अगर ये करना आ गया तो शायद मैं कुछ बन जाऊँ. Did a little bit of training. I trained with Shamak Dawar's Special Potential Batch. So
Okay.
Shamak himself and his instructors used to teach me. So I got a little bit of basic ballet training from them. I got contemporary training. But I realized that the style I really wanted to get good at and explore was hip hop. And
Okay.
that's a style that Shamak Dawar is not something he specializes in. So I
Okay.
left the company. And what I did was I was in HR college at that time.
Yeah.
So with my HR college dance team, we started our own dance crew.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Dance crew, which like you could go and YouTube this, all of you guys. The dance crew's name is Street Soul Dance Crew, SSDC. Street
SS Soul.
D That's a
Okay.
Street Soul Dance Crew.
Okay.
So you can YouTube this. There are a lot of videos of us from back in the day, from like 10 years ago or 9 years ago, performing
Okay.
in like college festivals and taking part in dance battles. And we used to do a lot of
Wow.
fun stuff. So that's how I really got into dance. I used to dance my way through college. All of my other interests sort of took a back seat because dance took so much of my time. And I think by
Okay.
the time I graduated, I became so saturated with dance that I needed a break from it. I was like,
Okay.
okay, I think I've danced too much for the last 4 years. I need to like just chill out.
Huh.
And that's when acting was suggested to me, and then the rest is history.
But you're a very fine actor, I can tell you that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have you seen Love? Have you seen a project?
No, I want to see it. Have you seen it?
Now recently it just also went on Z5. First it was on
Okay.
Tata Sky Theatre, but now it's gone on Z5 too. So
Okay.
Karan, director, he sent me the link.
Yeah.
I'll share it with you as well. It's
Yes.
beautiful. You should really
Yeah.
watch it and post it up. It's a beautiful film about. It's actually so similar to our current situation if you think about it.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
It like the story takes place 15 years in the future in Delhi,
Yeah.
where the climate has become so bad that you cannot step outside the house without wearing a mask. Does that ring a bell for anyone right now? So, uh, and how human society has evolved to try and live in that situation, and it
Yeah.
deals with a lot of very relevant topics of today, like feminism and individual identity and self-responsibility, artificial intelligence, some really interesting themes in that show that are
Respect.
very, yeah,
Deals
respecting
with respect
individuals.
also. Yeah. It's very good.
So it's a very cool show called Love. It's on Z5. I will share the link with you. Anyone can watch it now.
Yeah. That's so lovely. Yeah. And so you'll send me some dance videos of you, right? So
Yep.
we've got the Krantikari, the mental health advocate, the Bollywood actor, the dancer, and any other side to you that we haven't explored?
I mean, these are essentially the things that I'm known for because I mean that's what my profile says. It's the front.
Okay,
It's how do I say it? It's the parts of my personality that are extroverted, I
okay.
guess.
What about
But
this part? This
Yeah,
part.
but there's a lot going on inside also, right?
So
There's a
tell me
lot.
one thing about this part.
Um, I don't know. I think I'm a very vulnerable uh,
Yes.
person. I'm a very sensitive person, which is something I'm discovering only in the last few years of my life. And so a lot of my hobbies are more about that than the more extroverted hobbies like acting or dance. Like I love writing and I
Do you
do a
have
lot of
anything you've written? You have any poem or something that you could share with us?
I used to write fiction, but I think
Okay.
lately, because like I essentially just articulate whatever's going on in my mind. I articulate the stories that are calling out to me from within.
Okay.
And those
Yes.
stories have mainly lately been related to mental health, or they've been related to
Okay.
what's going on in the country.
Yeah.
So most of my recent writing has been about mental health. It's been about human beings and citizens and India. So I could
Okay.
share some of that with you. And that comes from a very, like, very, very vulnerable place. I feel like,
Yes.
uh, I mean, of course, acting and dance has to come from a vulnerable place.
Yes.
Uh, but those are very audience and entertainment related
Yeah.
passions, right? You know, they need
Yes.
an audience that you interact with.
Yes.
But when I write, it's very like
Personal?
I'm very shy about it. I'm very
Okay.
introverted about my writing. I put it out there because I know it's important for people to read these things, but I
Yes.
am extremely vulnerable and shy about it. Like I don't listen to the response. I don't like sit to
Okay.
wait on my what are people going to say. I get very scared, and
Okay.
usually the response though is quite overwhelming. So
Okay.
it really affects me. Like when someone
Okay.
compliments me on my acting or my dance, I'm just very like, oh, thanks, you know. But if
Yeah.
someone says something on my writing, it goes somewhere. It
Okay.
affects me.
Okay. So that's something you're discovering about yourself. What does the word hope mean to you?
Besides my dog,
Well, actually, that says it all.
yeah, it does. I mean, I named her
Yeah.
Hope because I
Yeah.
I wanted her to be a symbol of the emotion,
Yeah.
of the feeling that hope is supposed to give people. Every time
Yes.
someone looks at my dog, because of the kind of positive, beaming, happy, empathetic personality she has, I
Yes.
want people to look at her and feel hope. I want people to
Yeah.
look at her and feel this sense of upliftment, of something to look forward to, which I think is essentially what hope is about.
Yes.
Hope is um, the only light that shines in a dark sky.
Wow.
Hope is moonlight. Hope is starlight. It's sometimes it takes darkness for you to be able to see it. Sometimes it takes the night for you to be able to see those stars that are shining down on you and for you. And that's essentially what hope is. It's something to look up to,
Yes.
like the stars. It's something to draw light from. It's
Yes.
something that lets you see things that you would not otherwise be able to see in your direct personal surroundings. It's
Yes.
something to look forward to. And that's what we have to do right now. Hope is what we need, hope is what we breathe,
Yes.
and it's what we live on. So it's very
Yes.
important to find ways to feel
Yes.
that hope.
Yeah. I agree with you. Any last things that you want to say to the
Are there
audience?
questions now? We could take a couple of questions maybe.
Well, there is somebody who's asking, what is this trash? But do you want to even acknowledge that?
I mean, essentially, if
One
we
man's
ignore,
trash is another man's sustenance. Let's put it at that.
that's actually very well put and very
Yeah.
relevant to our current situation
Yes.
right now. You know,
Yeah.
the things we're disposing and the things we don't need literally could be the survival of a million people on the
Someone
streets.
else,
So,
absolutely. And we actually
yeah,
getting rid of trash so that
yeah,
we become better people. But
yep, we're going through a cleanse
yeah,
and cleaning up our own souls.
yeah,
So, yeah,
true. Somebody says you have a very beautiful mind.
I think that goes for you also.
Thank you. Somebody said,
Okay,
I'm
you have an
sorry.
apology. They realized they got acknowledged.
Yes, yes, we are reading this, obviously.
We are now reading comments.
We're now, yeah, if you're listening, you know.
If
And
anybody has any questions do you see how that response changed the minute we acknowledged it?
yeah, that's life, you know.
It's life. The minute you acknowledge any sort of minor negativity or toxicity, the minute you look at it straight in the eye, it vanishes. It just
Yeah,
dissipates. And what you find behind that is just somebody who's scared or afraid or doesn't know how to
yeah,
express themselves or wants to be heard or
yeah.
wants to be acknowledged. And that's essentially what empathy is all about, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's like the shadow self. I think this
Mhm.
is a very important time that, you know, as you said, it's okay to, like, we're all in the same situation, but in our different boats. And yes, there is sadness. And yes, a lot of the shadow self stuff is coming up, and we have to face that. Then the
It's a
minute you
very
acknowledge
interesting,
it,
yeah, it's a
yeah,
very interesting word you mentioned because this is a very psychological mental health concept. It's called shadow work.
yes,
And you work on things that are associated with your ego and things that are associated with your sense of self-esteem, your sense of
yes,
self-image, and maybe the patterns of maybe negativity or toxicity that are hiding underneath there.
yeah,
It's actually called doing shadow work.
yes,
Everybody should look this up. Look it up on Google, look it up on Instagram. There are a lot of really, really good mental health related pages from like
yes,
psychologists and therapists who help with you doing a lot of shadow work. So, like,
absolutely.
we need to work on our shadows.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. I think
Anyway,
that's what I'd say
that's
to
it.
everybody who's watching. Work on your shadows.
Yeah.
Work on your
This shadow
shadows
from Jung. Yes, yes, yes.
and amplify your light.
Work on your shadows and amplify your light.
Mhm. That's what.
Wow. Work on your shadows and amplify your light.
Mhm.
That's the way to get over this
It is.
blight.
It is.
Yeah. Work on your shadows. Everybody, remember that. This is your mantra. Work on your shadows and amplify your light. Okay, what is your
Absolutely.
favorite book, Shivam?
I don't have a favorite book, but I am reading a book right now called Sapiens, which is my current favorite book. I absolutely love it. It's an anthropological book about the origins of the human race and how we
Wow.
evolved to become the people that we are today. And I think it's extremely relevant to read it in the middle of a pandemic. It is a beautiful read. Sapiens.
Wow. Okay, guys, did you hear that? Anything else, Shivam, that you'd like to put out there?
I think we've covered a lot of talking points and basics that are enough to work with if you're
Okay,
scratching the
fine.
surface. They're like quite a bit. I don't want to
Okay.
overload people with too
No,
much because
don't.
then it'll get lost.
Don't, and please send me videos of you dancing because I am going to put one or two of those because there has
Okay.
to be lightness with this also, you know.
Yes, that
And
does.
thank you so much for this wonderful, wonderful, heart-moving interview and for putting
Thank you
yourself
for
out
having me.
there, of course, and showing us your beautiful soul. Thank you. You
Thank you
are
so
just
much for having
lovely.
me.
Yeah, yeah, of
Take care.
course.
Take care. I'll see you as soon as this is over.
We will. We have to meet and send me all the links, okay?
Okay, cool. Done. Bye.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
love
Take care,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Love you too.